So signaling to your Hitler is quite difficult, I would say. But it depends on the table. Now, if you're on a new table, you could pretty much say that I am I'm your fash. I don't know. You could joke about that. It's quite easy. I don't know. It's pretty easy if you do it that way. Or if, for example, red gives choice to the yellow, and then yellow plays the fascist card and says that they were forced. That would then signal to the Hitler, hey, this person's on my team, because obviously a liberal's not going to do that. That's one way of signaling. Um, you could signal through the way you're talking. That's kind of hard. I can't really. It's kind of hard for me to give an example on how to do that. I would say that takes a bit more. I guess I don't know, social IQ. I'll call it for a better word. Like you need to understand the dynamics that's going on, when to say things, what to say, how. Like you got to try and think, how can I, you know, how can I get my Hitler this information without making it really blatant and obvious to the other players on the board. You could also play very obvious fash by doing really fascist stuff or saying really fascist stuff after plays. That would signal, but then I mean it's a signal, but then it's also you're taking away the fact that you're probably not going to see play. If you're in a conflict, that's another way I guess you signal to your Hitler that well one of you is. But I think for me personally, I don't think I signal my Hitler. The way this is how I would do this. If I was Hitler, I would just chill, right? Play like a lib, just chill. Your fascists should be doing stuff, right? If they're not, they're either got unlucky in card draw or they're just bad fascists. It's probably the second one, right? So I would, if I was a fascist, I would just keep playing the game, keep screwing with the game, try and manipulate, try and create narratives that aren't true. Because you can use stuff to your advantage. Like a lot of people, they don't like the one behind thread method. They don't like metas because they think it's so like closed in. It's so on rails. It's not on It's not on rails. It's very easy to play within the meta. Like you can play within it. Um, it's quite actually useful to yourself. I mean, for me personally, I would explain it like, uh, well, if you go randomly, you should play a random game. That's probably the best thing to say to anyone. Play a random game. It's literally like rolling a dice. You might as well play by yourself, roll a dice. You know, oh, he's fascist. Oh no, it's just rolling a dice. It's really boring, right? Because if you've got people, I think personally this game is more fun with high level plays. I would say, something that's actually quite makes you think. Right, going random is just a massive dice roll. But yeah, I probably wouldn't signal to your healer. I can't. That's for me. That's my playstyle. You might actually want to signal. You might find a way to signal. Some people joke about stuff. Some people like put it subliminally through the way they talk to the Hitler or something like that. Or if they're just even just talking to Hitler. One thing I don't like doing though is this one. It's a sure upvote. It's like a sure. It's either a sure downvote, but because their Hitler's in it, they'll go, "Oh, yo, upvote." No, don't do that. On a good table, don't do that. Okay, and don't even try going, oh, wrong card. Don't even try that. Right? Or they might downvote. Let's say they're Hitler's in the first play. Right? Hold on. Let's say they're Hitler's in the first play, right? They might downvote it just to signal as well. I mean, you can. I don't know. I've seen it too many times. I think it's dumb. I don't think it works. Like, that's what I'm saying. Depends on the table you're on. If you're on a new table, you can probably get away with it. I just don't think it's worth doing it. I think you have more value in uh, messing with the table and then hoping your Hitler can sort of suss that you're the one or you're one of the people potentially. That's probably I think the best way of doing it. A lot of people then might try and signal their Hitler by saying, "Hey, play to red." Well, why don't you play to red? On experienced tables, what normally happens is what normally happens on an experienced table is that the person that no one talks about is probably Hitler. That's most likely what's going to happen. Fascists aren't gonna uh, say, "Hey, play to red" in this scenario. That's just too obvious. You'd have to be playing on some really new table, people that aren't paying attention. That's too obvious for me, personally. Um, or trying to basically like force this guy to be empowered. This guy doesn't need to see play to like, you don't need to like be like yes, yes. No, it doesn't have to be like, or you don't need to like, you know, he doesn't need to be Chancellor, right? You don't need to win like this. This win here, if you play on experience tables, this win here is like a very basic win. You wouldn't get this, okay, on an experience table. So don't try and force this. What you want to try force, is what I'll talk about in another video. Is killing 2 liberals with a bullet, or just getting to the end. That's probably the best way to win on an experience table. But yeah, generally, I think unless you can find a good way to signal, I personally think don't bother signaling, and hopefully either your Hitler picks up on it, or you've already got more value than the signal was even worth.